The CoinDesk Spotlight is brought to you by Nexo, the place to earn on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and more.
Our next guest has $5 billion in assets under custody, over 200 institutional clients, and licenses to operate in Hong Kong and Singapore. Joining us now is Alessio Quaglini, CEO at Hex Trust. Welcome, Alessio.
Thanks for having me here.
So let's start with the Asia market. You know, for a while, the Asia market was like the hottest market in crypto. We hear about it a lot less recently. The US has been talked about more because of a lot of regulatory issues. But what's happening right now in Asia? What are some of the trends that you're seeing? And basically, is Asia still a big player in crypto?
I think it's a very complex question. As in Asia, obviously, we have different markets that are going in different directions. On the negative side, obviously, we've been experiencing I would say, a straight ban from China that has decreased the activities in the region. But at the same time, we've seen a lot of flows of new institutions going to certain markets, especially in Southeast Asia. In Singapore, for the main activities in cryptocurrencies and all the institutional and B2B business, and then obviously we've seen a new kind of spring of new use cases of cryptocurrencies and NFTs and metaverse and GameFi, especially in Southeast Asia, where there is a large adoption of consumers. And a young population and a very good penetration of digital devices. So I would say that it is really a continent that is growing at different speeds, but certainly the growth is there, and I think we will continue to experience to experience this growth in the continent.
So you mentioned China and China cracking down on crypto even more. Is the China in play, though? I mean, you know, my impression is that there still are crypto investors and crypto traders in China, in mainland China, despite how difficult it is to trade crypto. What has been your experience and your observation? I mean, what is happening in the China market, and are they still kind of a player in this?
Absolutely. I mean, on the buy side, investors, they're still very active, and there's a lot of technology that is being built in China. However, the internal market is basically a no-go in terms of transactions and in terms of capturing especially retail clients inside the country. So we're seeing basically a trend of investors looking at technology companies that then will develop the business outside, or investors that are investing directly in companies outside of China.
So, as we talked about here just now, is that we've lost this sort of market, or at least a huge chunk of this market has died down in Asia. We often talk about how the crypto markets in Asia, or at least the growth of the crypto technology and usage, has sort of gone away as well. But has it also affected crypto has it set it back many years, if in fact, because the lack of liquidity in the market from what was there about a year and a half ago, has that kind of brought us backwards a little bit in terms of growing and innovating, et cetera, because you don't have all those buyers there as you did, 18 months ago, 2 years ago?
I don't think so. I think the market overall has been growing. It is true that in mainland China we don't have onshore transactions, but it's also true that the same players that were the leading players some years ago, they've just basically moved somewhere else, maybe targeting a different type of clientele, but they're still basically Asia-based players, and we're seeing the blockchain business in Asia exploding from different perspectives. Well, obviously, I was mentioning before Southeast Asia, the GameFi, the metaverse space. But if you look a little bit more at all the different verticals, right? So if you go, for example, to the blockchain protocols, we've seen one of the most successful blockchain protocols in the last few months, Terra, right, coming out of Korea. Right, and And if we look more specifically at China, we'll be seeing in the future probably a parallel universe of blockchain that have been developed essentially for direct purpose of providing the same blockchain services internally in China.
Oh, so basically, just like rather than having an internet, and in this case, the closed blockchain within China with the same available features you see on public blockchains.
I think it will be some kind of China way of public blockchain, so it will be controlled in a certain way. And then there will be very smart technology companies that will be able to build control bridges to connect this internal network to the rest of the networks that are operating outside of China. So I think that it's going to be a huge source of business opportunities for companies in the region.
Mm-hmm. You also raised $88 million, very lucky number, last month. And I'm just wondering, what are you planning to do with the funds? Where do you see opportunity, and where do you want to expand?
Yeah, I mean, there's a number of things. So obviously, the fundamental part is the technology, right? So I think everybody has realized, and last year was probably really the year of realization that this technology is here to stay, and that a big chunk of financial market services that are currently running on legacy infrastructure will be transferred to a new infrastructure based on blockchain. Hence, infrastructure players such as Hex Trust and our competitors in the market, I mean, they will have to improve their technology to be able to not only satisfy the requirements of crypto players, but satisfy the requirements of the overall traditional financial markets players. Secondly, obviously, we'll continue our journey in obtaining licenses in the key jurisdictions where we want to operate. We were obviously already licensed in Hong Kong and Singapore, but we are looking at other jurisdictions in the Middle East and in the American continent and in Europe. Lastly, obviously, this is a 24/7 business that never sleeps. So we'll have to basically continue our investment in making sure that our technology platform and operational model can operate on a 24/7 basis. So we'll be setting up a multi-hub operational framework with 3 hubs around the world to support our clients and our operations.
Just finally, you mentioned early Southeast Asia hot market. The Singapore example is very well known, but where are the other hot markets in Southeast Asia? Anywhere in particular that you think the world should be paying more attention to?
Well, I mean, it's a hard question because you really need to kind of separate the institutional market, which is what we do, right, from the more retail market. If you're looking at the institutional market, obviously Hong Kong, Singapore, Dubai, they're key markets, and they're developing at a very fast pace. If you look more at the consumer market, I would highlight Vietnam, Philippines, that are experiencing an incredible growth, especially in the metaverse and in the GameFi space. We do have a joint venture with Animoca Brands that is dedicated to the consumer market, and we are putting a lot of focus in those regions.